Hello guys, the DB Grinder here, back at it again with another video, and this time I am here with...
Felix Hamm, and I played Tearlament Punk, and I got 32nd after Swift at the U Championship, and I lost in top 128 to the Mirror to a guy I played before on Swiss. So he won the role, made Weller, and that was it. Yeah.
You want to do any shoutouts before we go ahead and hop in?
Yeah. Shoutouts to Ben. He lended me almost all my Tearlament cards. Before the tourney, I didn't own a single Tearlament card. Shoutouts to YuGiOh, he lended me the field spells, and shoutouts to my Team Azrael. I only did like 6 hours of testing with this deck, but I did all the hours with them, so that went great. And shoutouts to God Discord server. If you're German, you should check that out. Yeah.
Alright, and let's hop right into the deck profile.
Okay. So first off, the tier elements, I run 3 Merly, 3 Shayreen, 3 Hephaestus, 2 Rhinoheart. So these are like the busted ones, the ones that you want to mill off of like Chaos Ruler or pitch off of Foxy Tune. This one's a good pitch and mill too, but these ones are just better because they actually fusion. And I also wanted to get the deck as close to 40 as possible. In the end, I ended up running 41. And 2 Rhinoheart was amazing. I only had the second one come up once, but milling it and seeing it pretty consistently was pretty nice. For the tier element spells, I ran 1 Terraforming, 2 Perderino, the Terraforming for the side deck. The God card, I think I drew it like 3 times over the tourney, and it was like a blowout card every single time. 1 Mayonnaise, 1 Sulik. Yeah, I just wanted to have one more good mill, and in the tier mirror, I usually try to go for this over this because this just doesn't do as much as this. And that's it for the tier element cards in the main deck. I don't think I changed the ratio if I'd have to play the event again. For the punk cards, I ran like 3 Italy, 3 Aemon, 3 Foxy, 2 Ogre Dance, the Deer Note, and the Sharakusei. So I ran a big punk package because the cards are like amazing to draw and they help you extend through so much. I applied the same theory as you had with Punk Therian. You want to draw 2 punk cards a hand because 2 punk cards play through a hand trap, which is why I also ran Sharakusei, because only Foxy Tune is still Chaos Ruler if you run Sharakusei, and also if you open like the Aemon Teleport, that also plays through your hand trap on Aemon or Foxy Tunes. So, that's why Sharakusei is really good. It came up like 4 times throughout the entire tourney, mainly going second after Snow, and it always was like game winning, so I wouldn't cut that card. Then for the like 3 generic monsters I ran Snow, the Shinobi Necro, and the one card I don't think too many people run is one of the Strudo. I really liked this card because it was a very nice mill, and it's like made making Hulk a lot easier, and it also allowed me to run Foolish because I wanted to play Foolish, but I didn't only want to have like Snow or the tier element names. I wanted to have like one more good thing that helps me extend through a lot, and the Struder just makes Hulk, and life points are not that big of an issue unless you go to time, which I only lost in time once, which I'm okay with, and it wasn't even because of like the Strudo or the punks. It was because my opponent activated Gamma Burst in damage step. So yeah, this has been really good for me. I don't think I'd cut it, and I will continue playing it. And then for the like going second slash defensive cards, 1 Called By, 3 Dark Ruler, and 3 Super Poly. I already like lended someone out my Super Poly, so they are not here. I don't think I changed that. I'm really happy with that. The engine plays through a lot. The Dark Ruler was amazing for me. Like just shuts off the entire board. And Super Poly was really, really clean, especially in the mirror for me. Because if you're under Dweller, you can still like take away a lot of their resources with Super Poly. And also it's a generic discard which came up with Mystic Mine, not during the tourney, but in testing, like to pitch a Galaxy Cyclone. Then for the extra deck, I ran 1 Kid Colors. I never needed the second one. I always managed to recycle it just in time. And I think 1 is just fine, especially in this variant where you have a lot of like power cards to push through. Run Garuda for the like Super Poly, but I also usually go through this turn 1 if I don't hard draw Super Poly, just to get the extra draw from when you make Curious. The Drago Stapelia, like these are the 3 fusions I try to go through turn 1, and these 2 will end up in the extra deck again. So that's very clean, I think. The Rising Carp, you've got to play it. As I said, it came up thrice or 4 times. It was game winning. Then the Kaleido Heart. This card is insane. And when I made this, I was usually like, alright, like after this card resolved, I was like, alright, I win here. I win the game. No need to continue playing. You can just scoop it up. And that's all the fusions I ran. I don't think I'd run more, especially because of D-Barrier in the format. I got D-Barrier like thrice, and I managed to play through it because I play so many Link monsters, which I'll get to in a minute. 1 Dweller, no Reader, because Dweller's better in the mirror, and Dweller doesn't lose to Dark Ruler. Like, you can always go Dweller in draw phase or standby phase, especially if you have Apu up, you're not getting punished by Gamma. Then for the Synchros, Chaos Ruler and Baron. I made Chaos Ruler a lot of creative ways this tourney. Like a lot of times I made Hulk, summoned out the Shinobi Necro, and then linked it off, had a Garura on field, and banished the Shinobi with no, made Chaos Ruler this way or over the Strudo. And this card is just broken. It reads like a custom card. And Baron was really good. I made it at least every second game. It was always really, really good, especially for popping floodgates. Like I was under anti-spell, then I managed to make a Baron, and then suddenly like half my hand was live again. Then for the Lynx IP, I never made this card once. I think I cut it. Maybe for Mudragon, maybe for Nightmare Griffin in the main extra deck because I'll side Nightmare Griffin. But this card in theory and in testing it was good, but in practice not so much. Pride Elf was really good, especially like going second when I foolish like a Murley and couldn't use the effect. You can go into this over like your Hulk line if you only have the punt place. Hulk was like the absolute god card. It resolves, you win. Dark was really, really clean. I think I made Curious going second like every time over this, and then you dump Snow, and then you like win. Curious is the honest to god like god card of the extra deck. It just when this card resolves, it wins you the game. And like sometimes you can just let this card stay on field, and then if it gets beat, you can just add back whatever and have a bunch of follow up. And you can also trigger this during your opponent's turn if you have like Elf, this, and then you that's like your only play, and then you summon back the Murley over Elf, and then you get to mill 6 because Murley mills, and then Curious mills. And then for the Link Force, I played Zeraboros and Appaloosa. This card is way better than Axis Code, and it was amazing in every grind game I summoned it, and it got over like 10k attack, I think, 3 or 4 times. I don't think I changed a thing in the extra, but the IP thing. I don't know. Like the IP wasn't that great. It was was kind of just like there. I was playing with a 13.5 extra deck spot basically because Rising Card is also very situational. For the side deck, 1 Pancratops. This card is insane. I drew it like 4 times, and it almost won me the game every time, especially because I got Scythe twice when I drew this, and then I just stuck the Pancratops and managed to survive and pop off next turn. Duster, because you need to respect back row, and Mystic Mine. 3 Mystic Mine because it's just unfair. Like, I really hope they ban it soon, because this was like the 4th event in a row where every deck just played Mystic Mine. Talking about Mystic Mine, I didn't play a main deck out because usually Undermine the people will just summon 1 monster, or you book 1 before with Snow, so you can just link everything off and win that way. So I just accepted that I lose to Mystic Mine if my opponent actually plays correctly. 3 Galaxy Cyclone. This card in theory was really good, but it didn't come up like once in practice. But I'm still glad I ran it because Mystic Mine still is a card. And we usually cite in one going first just for Mystic Mine. Then Red Reboot because it's like absolutely insane. Like it's one of that must be banned, just like called by, just like I think Pancratops too, because Pancratops is just so much pressure, but that's a topic for another day. Nightmare Griffin, setting your floodgates is very fun, very interactive. Furious Foolish is your floodgates. Griffin sets it, so now you played around Darkrai even more than the deck already does in Engine. Then for the floodgates I ran 3 anti-spell. I ran this over a pointer because a lot of times I'd find myself in a position where I'd have no cards in hand because I comboed through like 2 or 3 hand traps. And now how would I actually have a card in hand for a pointer? And this card does practically the same. And I was also expecting like a lot of Lightning Storm, Dark Ruler, Talons, Prosperity, Mystic Mine, Enemy Controller, which are all cards that lose to anti-spell. So this was a really good call, and even if you mill it and set it off of this, it was amazing. That came up the only time I actually went first after siding in Swiss. I usually 1-2-0 in Swiss. Then and the band played on was Flight. I think this is somewhat uncommon over Nightmare Griffin, but it's also very good into Exorcister, which I was very afraid of because they just have the best engine into Tearlaments, I think. And the last Floodgate is for the Mirror, for everything Rogue, and also just good against Sprite. It's 1D barrier. Like these 6 cards for going first were amazing, and you can usually side out like the 3 Dark Ruler, the 3 Super Poly. No, uh, 2 Super Poly, 3 Dark Ruler, and then just IP or whatever from the extra deck for this. And then you have like, then your deck is just equipped to go first even better. So that was really, really good for me. And yeah, I don't think I changed a thing. And yeah, I think that's it. Like, I'm sad that I lost in top 128, but it was against a good player. He went top 8 at British Nets. We faced each other in Swiss where I clapped him. So that's something. At least I won that match. And so then he knew what I was playing and met weather, so he won. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like that. Do you know
It
what you would end up changing the IP for off the top of your head, or would it have to be something you think about?
So it would be either Mud Dragon, because Mud Dragon did come up quite a bit, especially with Ogre Dance, and it makes Dweller easier. And I think 7 of my 12 rounds of Swiss were Tier Mirrors, and sometimes I couldn't end on Dweller. So that's something. Or I just play Nightmare Griffin main deck just to reset like your Tearlament trains, because that's also really busted.
Hmm.
Uh, or I'd play a second Dark, honestly. I summoned Dark on my own turn a lot to steal like a DD Crow and make Curious that way. And then I missed it when in turn 3 when they somewhat broke my board. So yeah, I think these are all things to consider for me.
Hmm. Is there anything else you want to say before we hop off?
Uh no, I don't think so.
All right. Thank you for the deck profile. Congrats on your top. I'm happy you played the best deck. And the DV
Yes,
Grinder
sir.
signing off. Peace.